Hello again, my fellow pilots and aircraft maintenance personnel. Your host is always Haitham Ali, and I'm an aviation technical instructor. Welcome to my aviation nuggets for today. At the beginning, I need to tell you this is not a formal training. This is a performance support tools. I need my fellow pilots and aircraft maintenance personnel to always be on the top of everything and to increase your performance. And I need always to increase your performance. So, in these short minutes, I will explain the procedure for engine fire. If you fly or maintain the Airbus A320, so you need to memorize the engine fire procedure. Engine fire or nacelle fire or tailpipe fire. So if an engine fire happen, you will have many indication in the cockpit, like the continuous repetitive chime, master warning, the fire push button switch light will illuminate, the engine fire procedure will come up on the upper ECAM, and the nacelle temperature and the engine page will come up on the lower ECAM. Okay, everybody, so many indication for an engine fire. So, what is meant by engine fire or nacelle fire or external fire? The main reason for an engine fire is a flammable fluid leak into the nacelle. A flammable fluid leak into the nacelle, like hydraulic fluid, oil or fuel. Maybe a pipe or a duct rupture and a flammable fluid leak now, or a flammable fluid now leak into the nacelle, where there is a very high temperature. The manufacturer call this location the sensitive area of the engine, where there is a very high temperature and a flammable fluid duct running in that area. So fire detection loops are always there to indicate for you into the cockpit that there is an engine fire happening, and the indication will come into the cockpit. So in any case, if you receive those indications, you don't need to delay your procedure, and always as fast as you can declare emergency and do the engine fire procedure. The engine fire procedure. So what about the engine fire procedure? Can you memorize the engine fire procedure? Yes, you can. Remember always, everybody, all the beginning steps is isolation, and the last step is to extinguish the fire bottle. Okay, so where you can find this procedure? On the upper ECAM at the engine and warning display. Okay, everybody, so the procedure will call for these steps. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 is isolation. And number 5, you will extinguish the fire bottle. It is the last steps. So all the beginning steps is isolation, everybody. All the beginning steps is isolation. So number 1, you need to press on the master warning to extinguish the CRC and to be calm, because always the CRC or the continuous repetitive chime may take the pilot or my fellow aircraft maintenance personnel into panic, and you may do a mistake while doing the procedure. So at the beginning or at the very beginning of your steps, you need to press on the master warning to extinguish the sound. This is the first isolation, sound isolation. Number 2, take your throttle lever or take the throttle lever of the affected engine into idle. Why you may need to do this step, everybody? Because now you will allow the ventilation of the nacelle to reduce and the engine to go to idle, and to reduce the ventilation of the nacelle. As if you release the fire agent into the nacelle, it will be effective and it can easily extinguish the fire. So number 2, thrust lever set to idle. When you take the throttle lever into idle, you need to remember that you decrease the nacelle ventilation, and now if you release the fire agent into the nacelle, it will be effective, everybody. Number 3, everybody, you need to take the master lever of the affected engine to off. Master lever to off. So why you need to do that? To cut off fuel, to isolate fuel supply. And you need to remember, master lever to off will close the low pressure fuel valve in the wing and the high pressure fuel valve on the engine, so that the engine will be immediately shut down. The engine will be immediately shut down. Because if you can remember, the high pressure fuel valve on the engine will only close with the master lever. With the master lever. If you release the fire push button, will not close the high pressure fuel valve on the engine, but will only close the low pressure valve in the wing. Okay, everybody, so you need to remember that master lever to off, to cut off fuel supply and isolate fuel supply, and the engine will be immediately shut down. Sorry, because the master lever closes the low pressure fuel valve in the wing and the high pressure fuel valve on the engine. Everybody. Okay, everybody. The fourth step is to release the fire push button. Open safety guard and push. Open safety guard of the fire push button and push on the fire push button to release it. And by this step, you do many isolation, everybody. First, when you release the fire push button, you will have master caution indicating that some system correctly deactivated. So, what is releasing the fire push button will isolate? It will confirm closure of the low pressure fuel valve in the wing. So, fuel supply will cut off. Number two, hydraulic supply will cut off by releasing the fire push button. The hydraulic fire shut-off valve will close and prevent the hydraulic fluid going into an engine on fire. Also, bleed supply cut off and air conditioning supply cut off. FADEC supply power will cut off. FADEC supply power will cut off. IDJ de-energize, so that many isolation will happen by releasing the fire push button. Also, if you release the fire push button, the fire bottle percussion system will now be active, and the squib indication will come on the agent 1 and agent 2 on the fire battle on the fire panel. So now you can discharge the fire bottle or agent 1 and agent 2. So number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 are all isolation steps. Remember, always are all isolation steps. And all the first steps of the engine fire procedure is to isolate. The last step, when the agent push button are active and the squib indication will come on, so now the percussion system of the fire bottle are ready, you can press on agent 1 and agent 2 to release the halon gas or the fire agent into the nacelle, and hope this fire agent will extinguish the fire. So if the fire successfully extinguished, how you may know, everybody? First, you will have the indication or the red light on the fire push button will extinguish. The fire indication here underneath the master lever will go out, and the procedure will be extinguished from the upper ECAM. Now you satisfy, or now you are very satisfied that the engine fire is extinguished, everybody. Again, everybody, this session is for performance support. This session is for performance support. It is not a formal training. Always consult your formal manual, everybody. Always consult your formal manual, like the Flight Crew Operating Manual, MEL, or the Aircraft Maintenance Manual. Thank you for your good listening. And always, if you need a performance support tools or a performance support session, don't hesitate to follow my Aviation Nuggets. My Aviation Nuggets is on YouTube, and the Aviation Nuggets always is by Haitham Ali. Thank you for your good listening, and always fly safely and maintain your aircraft very safely, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you and goodbye.